20 years ago, the United States of America took a decision to invade Iraq. Now, 2 decades later, what is the country living? Turmoil and chaos. Who is to blame? And what did this invasion produce? The following report tells you more.
Exactly 20 years ago, the US launched the invasion of Iraq. The war began with a massive military assault on Baghdad and was followed by a full-scale invasion with strong support from the United Kingdom. Millions of people across the world sat transfixed in front of the TV screens, watching as bombs and missiles exploded in Baghdad. 2 decades on, the killings continue. The invasion was launched to end the rule of President Saddam Hussein, destroy the alleged weapons of mass destruction in the oil-rich country, and also bring democracy to the land. No weapons of mass destruction were found in Iraq as claimed by the so-called international community. Saddam Hussein was captured and executed, and Iraq remains deeply scarred with internal conflict and economic devastation. It continues to remain under the sway of Iranian and American influence. So what has changed then for Iraq after all? Nothing really. In fact, the situation has worsened as experts say. More than 200,000 Iraqi civilians are dead, and chaos and instability prevail in the region. Then why was the war waged in the first place? On 20th of March 2003, the US forces landed in Baghdad. 3 weeks later, the US troops took control of Baghdad. And just after Saddam's capture, the US conceded that there were no stockpiles of chemical or nuclear weapons found in Iraq. The US officially left Iraq in 2011, leaving behind destruction, despair, and anarchy. Iraq witnessed an insurgency, first by Saddam loyalists and then by Al-Qaeda. A sectarian civil war followed, and later the rise of the Islamist State, which occupied a third of Iraq and slaughtered thousands. The war left thousands of mothers crying for their children. About 4 million children were orphaned and 1 million women widowed. And not to talk about the people born in Fallujah with birth defects every day because of the depleted uranium and the phosphorus that was used by the US.
George Bush had promised that Iraq would become a paradise after the fall of the regime of Saddam Hussein. But on the contrary, we did not see this. Terrorism, Al-Qaeda killings, they tried to plant sectarian divisions amid the unified Iraqi people. But we say that this event is painful for each Iraqi because we passed through huge disasters, and until now, 20 years later, we did not see anything from the promises made by the American administration.
20 years later, a semblance of normalcy has returned, but Iraq still battles a range of challenges. In today's Iraq, elections are held. Political plurality is encouraged and free expression officially guaranteed. But in practice, Iraqi politics remains chaotic and marred by sectarian and ethnic conflict.
20 years ago, nothing was achieved in Iraq, from paving streets to construction. Nothing got done in Iraq. One does not feel safe going home. Whether he will be dead or alive, he can't know. Only God is there for us.
A third of Iraq's population lives in poverty, public services are largely absent, and the energy-rich country suffers frequent blackouts, especially in the extreme summer heat.
The Americans came and said, we will give you everything you need. We'll give you full food rations, paved roads, sewage systems, and electricity. None of this happened. They just came, destroyed the country, stole Iraq's wealth and people, and then left.
20 years on, American and British leaders do not dwell on the invasion, but Iraqis have not forgotten. Despite the strides Iraq has made, it remains inherently unstable, 2 decades from the invasion that was meant to usher in democracy and make lives better. West Asia Bureau, WION World is One.